We'll
I can be the chair.
You want to sit and talk?
Mine.
Here, here. What's this about?
Ladies and gentlemen, for someone who hated the Vatican so much, the previous speaker's speech sounded more like a Bible sermon than like a debate. I took more time finding out what the substantials were than find reminders to them. The one thing I need to say here is Imran's been training them well. But let's go to the previous thing. I want to talk about a couple of things in my speech today. The first thing I want to talk about is the huge harm which hasn't been addressed, which is that the Vatican will simply pull out of its efforts in Africa, and how it's extremely bad because there's no one else doing anything else in the Africa with like 1 million people and so many people with AIDS. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is leave about the fact that this is a crime against humanity. We say it's a violation on the freedom of expression. Like we say that's the threshold that this debate must be looked on. So we're going to talk to you about freedom of expression and why necessarily this is like an extension or a way the church speaks what it wants, where it wants. It's part of a mixed message that he hasn't spoken about, and we'll talk to you about the other side of the coin that he refused to talk about as well. The first thing I want to say is I agree with a lot of things he said. So it's in the omission and commission and all the things in the middle that he talked about, and my condoms have holes in them and all of that. I mean, okay, we don't have issues with all of that. So I'll rebut 2-3 things specifically. The first thing, and I just want to bring this example, he said they're accused of crimes against humanity because they systemically ensure that people die of AIDS in Africa. The first response, that's unbelievable. He doesn't make it sound believable. But the second response is, what is he talking about here? Jacob Zuma once famously remarked, if you had sex, just go take a shower. You won't get AIDS. You don't need a condom. Because applying that threshold, you go and charge Jacob Zuma with the same crime against humanity because he has the same level of popularity in his country. And a lot of people actually listen to it. We say we can attribute them AIDS in South Africa to the same point and then go ahead with that policy. So we say it really doesn't count. And the second thing he didn't tell us who's going to do this. Why does the ICC, which has judges or which is funded by mainly Western states, actually want to do it? They currently can't even charge Omar al-Bashir. They can't bring him to court for systemically killing people. He killed hordes and thousands of people over many years. They couldn't even save the people though they knew it was happening. They couldn't bring him to court because he keeps traveling around. How the hell would they want to go ahead with the same policy? I asked this in a POI, why not implement this in Western liberal democracy? He said it's urgent apparently. I can say the same thing for a lot of countries, for a lot of states in the Bible Belt as well. I say kids in these places, probably go to religious schools, attend church, they don't have access to sex ed, which means if they go by the same policy of abstinence that the church delivers, we say you accuse them of crimes against humanity in first world nations as well. We say it's an insult to the Vatican and its effort to go. It's not like a charge or a slap on the wrist like he wanted to portray. So never mind that. Let's go to the next slide. He said these are crimes against humanity, and the example he gave us was to show us the Nuremberg Convention, where the Nazis were charged for systemically killing Jews. Is that the company we want to put our priests in? They put their entire lives to give up their families, give up possibly everything, live in the worst of conditions in Sub-Saharan Africa, treat people in fact they protect people. If anything we say, lives are saved in Africa because of the outreach in the church. We don't see a single person's life, but it's part of a mixed message. I'll take someone once they stand in a bit, but more importantly, we say so that rebuts this idea of command responsibility. I'll talk about moral responsibility, and we don't think there's a moral responsibility here because we think the church has absolutely no intent to kill people. The church has absolutely no intent to even cause any sort of harm to people. If anything, the church has rape victims. The church has people whose houses have been burned, wives have been raped, and kids have been butchered in front of their eyes. This is the kind of help the church provides. Something I'll talk about later on as well after.
If something makes sense to offer about command responsibility, there is command responsibility when the church refuses to discipline people who actively spread misinformation about an instrument of public health. That is a crime against humanity.
So you think it's misinformation? I don't think so. That's what I'm going to talk about in my speech. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the freedom of expression. And we say, what's the threshold when it comes to say freedoms and what you talk about? And we say we regularly allow individuals to talk about what they want as long as there's no like direct harm. And we don't think there exists direct harm here because the church doesn't say only don't use condoms. The church's primary message is abstinence. The church's primary message is the fact that sex is not being indulged in as a form of recreation but rather purely for procreation. The church tells you not to be promiscuous, and these are other aspects of the same message which the church highlights even more and talks about in Africa. This takes a lot of people, especially in Sub-Saharan Africa, where they regularly convert people into Christianity from say religions like Islam where they have multiple partners and multiple wives. So what this does is that in generation, I don't mean it as any form of offense, but in generations to come, what we say is that it literally means that it saves people from it because people realize that once they practice Christianity, they don't have sex outside their marriage. In fact, they don't have sex in their marriage other than to procreate as well. You think if you use the church's message wrong and twist it like what you're saying, that's misinformation which you're spreading as a speaker, not what the church is spreading. Let's look at simple examples of freedom of expression that we regularly allow. We say, like, look at things that Sarah Palin says, like talks about in terms of Republicanism, morality, and in terms of fact that you must never abort a kid. We think a lot of people necessarily listen to that, and that's a big arm as well. Why not charge her on the same line? Because you can think that's misinformation. Like she says abortion is bad, maybe it's actually good. Like we don't know, right? Let's give you other examples. Like this is like a fundamental expression example. Let's look at other examples where people actually do actions that can be charged, like that cause much more harm than things you're talking about. Let's talk about systemic violations of human rights in countries like Iran, in countries like Saudi Arabia, where they stone people to death. Like really, we think that's a much greater harm, and that kills a lot more people in countries where, like for example, Putin goes ahead and systemically destroys Chechen rebels, even though they have like a right to their expression or any sort. Like the only definition he gave of like this right or of humanity was that if your rights are denied, he never defined what those rights are. We say it's only the right to life, and we say it's an intention to remove someone of life because of systemic targeting. We don't think the church targets only people in Africa and this is like denies them condom usage there. It has the same message across the world, and you can charge it with like crimes against everyone in general in like life, any human being, and not necessarily like a targeted race, something that needs to be defined. No crimes against humanity. Last year, something my second speaker further highlight is the good work that the Vatican's been doing. We say the Vatican has the reach that no other like public health authorities have. So there's no like idea of fear here because there's no one else there. Like the only people who like these rape victims can come to, the only people they can talk to, and the only government, God and religion that they know of, or anyone they know of outside their village is like the local priest. We say simple things like vaccination, simple things like preventing them against tropical diseases, and preventing like 160 million people dying from like malaria or even simple diseases is the church. And we say necessarily what you're going to do is an insult to the church. The church has never changed. Like we regularly see the Western world or the Democrats criticizing the church for every like small thing, but the church will never change because that's the fundamental tenet on which Christianity is based. And you simply cannot expect the church like to change its policy because of like your slap on the wrist. If anything, they pull out of Africa, and you haven't shown us a single harm as to how you can counter that because there's no other government out there in Africa. We're very happy to.